And the C's are the compulsions, rituals, safety behaviors. We could call them a lot of different things, but they serve the same function, which is really to make ourselves feel better. And just to be a little bit more assured that the scary thing that we think might be going on isn't going on, or to confirm it, just because I know that maybe you and I have both had the experience before where even though it sounds like it's a little out of left field, sometimes people just want an answer because the uncertainty and the unknowns around some of these things that are happening is maybe one of the most unbearable parts.
And if you read the book and read through the website, because we have some of these forms that are downloadable, you're going to find us break down that third column, compulsions, into two categories. And if you're an OCD specialist, you know what we're talking about. If you've been treated for anxiety or OCD, you probably know what we're talking about. Health anxiety is no different, which is when we try and solve, this Rubik's Cube that we're not able to solve about our health. We've gone to multiple doctors, we've searched stuff on the web, we've consulted our uncle who's that special physician in New York, and all those things we've done. There are behavioral rituals and compulsions, and there are mental rituals and compulsions. And that second category can get very tricky. So just know, if you read through our book, you're gonna learn about two kinds of things that almost everybody with significant anxiety does, some of which we can watch you do on camera. If we followed you around with the camera all day, which would be really creepy, we could see you do that, checking your pulse, taking your temperature, looking stuff up online, calling the doctor multiple times. We can watch you do that.
The tricky ones are the ones that happen up here. And these are what we call mental compulsions, which is what are the ways that we try to either reassure ourselves, to work out the details, to replay the doctor's visits in our head of being like, oh no, well no, he said that, the doctor said that this was fine. All of those different things. If we come back to the functions of these different types of things, they all kind of aim to do the same thing, which is if I'm feeling anxious about my health, how can I just feel a little bit more reassured that that things are going to be okay.
And so when you start doing those kind of analytic exercises, Michael, a lot of people don't see people doing them, and we all do those. Everyone does everything I've just described, but when you do them in excess, when you use them as a primary coping mechanism, if they're the sole way you can bring down that fear, that column 2, then what you're really doing is engaging in mental rituals. And for any therapist out there listening to this, if you don't identify, list out, and treat mental rituals, you're going to miss part of the disease. And though having health anxiety, Michael, is scary, and it can be debilitating, what's really debilitating is spending all day long ritualizing.
And one of the things that I see, and I'm sure you see as well, that I think is always important to bring light to when we're thinking about rituals and just the scary things that go through our mind, is that, like a lot of times we want to do these things to make sure that we avoid all of the scary outcomes. Not being with our family, not being able to live life, not to be able to go on a vacation somewhere, et cetera, et cetera. And the hard part about it is engaging in these rituals steals all those things away from you anyway.
Sure does.
Because there's so many times where maybe we're on our phone, looking up on things on, Google, whatever it might be, and the whole time you are not with your family. And that's a really hard reality, I think sometimes it is to come to. And also it can be a great motivator, because when we think about the dissection between those two things, sometimes we start to lose the things that we're really afraid to lose in the first place.